Lost media is a fascinating subject to me. Over the years, there have been countless instances of everything from movies to literature going missing, being lost to time, or simply being forgotten. Inversely, it seems like every single day a once-lost piece of media is recovered thanks to the work of a burgeoning online community of lost media enthusiasts. However, despite the continued efforts of groups like the Lost Media Wiki and the Lost Media subreddit, there are some pieces of media that have eluded even the most dedicated hunters, with some being so obscure that many have come to doubt their very existence. From scrapped video games to destroyed tapes, this is the lost media that won't ever be found. Ghosts N Goblins 64 is the name given to the lost build of a cancelled action game Capcom was developing for the Nintendo 64. In November of 1996, Capcom invited various gaming publications to preview their upcoming games for the next year, with Ghosts N Goblins 64 being one of them. Neil West, the editor-at-large for Next Generation magazine at the time, was present at the event and described the game as being early in developmental stages, but that, quote, "It was clear that Super Mario 64 was a big source of inspiration, as this happened for many games in that period, like Konami's Goemon 64. Edge magazine similarly described the game as, quote, a Mario 64-like featuring Ghosts N Goblins characters. Outside of these few early magazine reviews, nothing is known about Ghosts N Goblins 64. The game was quietly cancelled by Capcom and no promotional materials or screenshots are known to exist. With so little information even known about the game, it is very doubtful that any sort of build of the game will ever surface. Gogola is a 1966 Bollywood movie distributed by Indradhanush Films, most notable for being the first and so far only Indian-produced kaiju film. However, despite being such an important landmark in Bollywood's history, Gogola is currently a lost film. All that remains today is promotional material, some still frames, the soundtrack, and a loose and partially speculative plot synopsis. The film begins with a group of teenagers at a beach party witnessing the titular Gogola rising out of the ocean. They go to tell the police but are turned away due to a lack of evidence. Soon after, Gogola reaches land and attacks the city of Mumbai. The Indian military drives Gogola back into the ocean but breaks off the attack over concerns that they lack jurisdiction. The scientist's father of Asha, one of the teenagers who first sighted Gogola, develops a poison to kill Gogola, and Kumar, another of the teenagers, volunteers to administer the poison underwater. However, a rival of Kumar named Lachu plots to kill Kumar and claim credit for killing Gogola. The movie ends with Gogola killing Lachu shortly before succumbing to the poison. Very little of this film exists to this day, with even cast and crew information being extremely limited. As a result, it is highly unlikely that Gogola will ever be found in its entirety. This entry is a little different. Where the others on this list will most likely not be found due to lack of information or awareness, the English dub of Electric Soldier Porygon will likely never be found, both because of the potential controversy that would come with it, as well as the fact that it might not even exist. Electric Soldier Porygon is the 38th episode of the first season of the Pokemon anime. Its first and so far only broadcast was in Japan on December 16, 1997. Also known as Computer Warrior Porygon in Japan, the notorious episode followed Ash and his friends as they ventured into cyberspace, alongside a digital Pokemon named Porygon, to stop Team Rocket from using the Pokeball transfer system to steal other people's Pokemon. At one point during the episode, Pikachu uses his Thunderbolt attack on an antivirus program, causing an explosion that rapidly flashes a red and blue strobe effect. These flashing lights were so intense that they caused a reported 12,000 viewers, mostly children, to suffer a wide array of ill effects, ranging from blurred vision, headaches, dizziness, and nausea, to more severe symptoms such as seizures and loss of consciousness. According to the Japanese Fire Defense Agency, over 150 children were hospitalized, with 2 needing to stay in the hospital for over 2 weeks. This incident would later serve as inspiration for the Lavender Town Syndrome creepypasta, but that's a story for another video. Electric Soldier Porygon has since never been rebroadcast, and Porygon and its evolutions have yet to appear in the Pokemon anime or its movies in any notable form. Despite the attempts at burying the episode, however, it can now be found online quite easily. While the original dub has been found, many believe that an English dub was produced by 4Kids and never released. In a 2004 interview, Ash's voice actress, Veronica Taylor, denied that an English dub was ever produced, but this claim would later be disputed by Maddie Blaustein, the late voice actress from Yount, and Eric Stuart, the voice actor for Brock and James, who both claimed that an English dub had in fact been produced to completion. It's unknown why even the people who worked on the show have differing statements on the English dub's existence, but some theorized that perhaps only some of the episode was ever completed, or that some of the actors were simply lying. Whatever the case, it's still unknown if the dub exists, and if it does, it's unlikely to ever be found due to the controversy that could potentially come with it. A Nightmare on Elm Street is a 1990 NES game based on the film series of the same name. Developed by Rare and published by LJN, the game focused on the player character, a teenager living on Elm Street, exploring various locations on Elm Street while trying to find and destroy the bones of Freddy Krueger. However, the game appeared to have vastly different gameplay when screenshots of it were first revealed in an edition of Nintendo Power magazine in 1988. In this earlier version of the game, the player would have controlled Freddy himself, with the objective of the game being to track down and kill the teenagers trying to destroy his bones. Nothing more would be announced about the game until a year later, when an article in Nintendo Power described the game as a multiplayer action game in which up to 4 players could work together to fight Freddy Krueger. It's unknown exactly why such a drastic change was made to the game, but it's likely that either Nintendo or LJN ordered Rare to remake the game to avoid the controversies and financial failures of previous licensed games based on horror movies, such as Halloween and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, both for the Atari 2600. There is very little information on the prototype build of the game aside from the aforementioned articles and screenshots, and due to LJN being defunct since 1995, it seems highly unlikely that a playable version of the prototype will ever be released. Bill Cosby 77 is the name of an unreleased Netflix stand-up comedy special by Bill Cosby, filmed in San Francisco on July 12, 2014, the date of Cosby's 77th birthday. It was scheduled to be released November 28th of the same year. However, just 10 days prior, model and television personality Janice Dickinson became another of the growing number of women who had accused Bill Cosby of sexual misconduct. Within a few hours of this happening, Netflix stated simply, "At this time we are postponing the launch of the new stand-up comedy special, Bill Cosby 77. A few months later, in January of 2015, Netflix's chief content officer Ted Sarandos said, "It just felt like the wrong time to have a comedy special from Bill Cosby. It was just an inappropriate time to have a stand-up comedy from Bill at that time, in the middle of the holidays." He went on to describe the events that led to the special being postponed as, quote, "tragic." In July 2015, Sarandos confirmed that the special was officially cancelled, and that Netflix had no plans to release it at any time in the near future. To this day, no footage or trailers of Bill Cosby 77 can be found online, and it seems that Netflix has no intention of ever changing that. Well, there you have it. 5 pieces of lost media that I don't believe will ever be found. Out of the 5, I think the Electric Soldier Porygon dub is the most likely to be found or proven non-existent, while I think Gogola truly is completely lost to time. Do you think they'll ever surface in some way? Are there any other pieces of lost media you'd like to see covered? If so, leave a comment. I'd love to read your thoughts. Until next time, thanks for watching.